Hello there! Thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, what a soul R&B pop masterpiece of a poster is this 1963 Motortown Revue concert poster. Oh my goodness, this is simply as good as they get. This is just remarkable from Motown Records, known as Motortown on this poster. I mean, this is one of the greatest greatest pop music, period, concert posters ever made. I can say that unequivocally. It's just an absolute beauty. If you've never seen it before, I'm sure your jaw is agape. It is just really a special poster. And the talent on here, I was just talking about the looks, the talent on here, oh my gosh, led by little Stevie Wonder and all these Motown legends and so forth. You know, it's one thing to have an R&B hit. It's a very good thing to have an R&B hit in the black community, but to go over to the pop charts and get into the top 10 is an amazing, that's total success, right? Top 10 pop hit. Well, the artists, the Motown artists on this poster added up for no fewer in their careers than 68 top 10 pop hits. Just remarkable, just amazing talent on this poster. That's over 5 dozen pop hits in the top 10 throughout the 60s and 70s by these artists. So it's just absolutely crazy talent. Now this is a tour blank, so up there on the top you have the Memphis information, and I'm going to get into detail about that in part 2 of this video. But first I wanted to talk more about the artistic talent on this poster and the all-important song titles that appear on it, which are always a big, fun, important part of any old vintage concert poster like this. So right there at the top, though, as you can see under the venue information, it does say Supersonic Attractions presents Motortown Revue. And again, Motown, same thing. I'm not sure why Barry picked which, probably just the shorter one for his record label, but obviously all referring to the car manufacturing in Detroit, Michigan, making it known as Motortown. And then you've got right there he is. You ready for this? 13-year-old. Little Stevie Wonder. My goodness, 13 years old. He had had only one hit so far, recorded when he was 12, and that was Fingertips Part 2. And it's shown on the poster here. They leave the Part 2 off just as Fingertips. But you may not recognize that song title because it's not said in the song, but believe me, if you listen to radio at all in the 60s, you know that song. It was recorded actually live on the first Motortown Revue tour the year before in 1962. But, this is Stevie's coming out poster. It's the earliest known, this tour blank is the earliest known Stevie Wonder concert poster, and it's got his first big hit, Fingertips, on there, and that's just really helps. It really helps the power and the punch of the poster, that's for sure. Very prominent with its harmonica, and Stevie also played bongos on it. And then you've got another song title on there above his name Wonder, and that's Work Out, Stevie, Work Out. Now, if you're not that familiar with that, it was a mild hit. But what's interesting is that in the 1960s, Motown put out their first Stevie Wonder's Greatest Hits album. There's the LP cover, and I was the proud buyer and owner of that album, and so I listened to it in the 60s, and that's how I got to know his marginal hits. And so for someone like me, Work Out, Stevie, Work Out, the memories go back to the 60s, and it's still a great record, so it's nice to have it here on this poster. Then you've got the very highly unusual, for the 60s at least, artistic rendering there of Stevie's face with his dark glasses. That was a real common practice back in the 30s and 40s with big band posters and band leaders like, Glenn Miller and Goodman and Dorsey and so forth, but not so much once photographs became easily reproduced, and they really took over with posters like this. But at this point it was a designer's choice, and as a matter of fact, Ray Charles used a lot of artistic renderings of himself on his 1960s concert posters, even though photos were readily available. So, as I said, artistic choice, and obviously the designer of this poster chose to go with both artistic renderings and photographs to a really nice effect. Then you've got that right off Stevie's chin there, genius of the harmonica. And as mentioned, of course, harmonica really dominated the Fingertips hit, and so that's why they're sort of plugging that. Interestingly, the Fingertips and Work Out, Stevie, Work Out were his single releases numbers 4 and 5, his first 3 stiffed. But what's funny is his first single had a really long title. I call it Pretty Music, but old people call it the blues. Can you imagine that song title on a concert poster, and probably how it would be butchered too? I don't think so. But again, maybe there is an older Stevie Wonder concert poster than this. If so, I'd love to hear about it. Then off to the left there, you've got The Miracles with Mickey's Monkey, featuring Smokey Robinson. And that follows two monster hits before that, both Shop Around and You Really Got a Hold on Me. What I love about this is the picture of the Miracles, because it shows not only Smokey, but his wife Claudette, who actually retired from touring in just a few months in early '64. So here you have a '63 Miracles concert poster that does show Claudette, and that would become a real rarity, because once she retired to take care of family business at home, she would only sing in the studio background vocals and had her picture taken out of all publicity stills and mentions of the group and everything else. So really nice to have the Miracles on here with Claudette. That's really special. Then to the right of the Miracles, you've got that nice big starburst, all in person, really a nice dynamic action graphic from Globe Posters and the designer. Really love that one. And then off to the right, you've got another super duper legend in Marvin Gaye. I mean, do you realize the top three people on this poster, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and Smokey Robinson, are probably the three heaviest talents ever at Motown, and they were more than just talents. I mean, songwriters, producers, even Smokey became a vice president for the label in 1964, the year after this poster. So, I mean, these are about the three heaviest talents in Motown history, so it's just amazing to have them carry the top half of this poster. You got a nice headshot there of Marvin Gaye, and standard publicity headshots were used when the artistic renderings were not. And then two Marvin Gaye song titles to beat the band, Pride and Joy and Can I Get a Witness. Now, Pride and Joy was top 10 pop. Can I Get a Witness, not so much a hit, but it was influential. I mean, Rolling Stones had an answer record called Now I've Got a Witness, and supposedly Bob Dylan wrote a famous song like Mr. Tambourine Man while listening to Can I Get a Witness, over and over again. That's as legend has it. And then you've got the background singers on those two records. That's amazing. Do you realize on the background of Pride and Joy, all you had was Martha and the Vandellas. And on the background of Can I Get a Witness, all you had was the Supremes singing. The talent on this thing is so rich, it's just incredible, it's just amazing. Well, speaking of the Martha and the Vandellas there, you've got them with their hands held high in the air, and the song Heatwave. Interestingly, Heatwave is probably the most famous song on this poster, if she's not the most famous artist. I mean, Heatwave is a song that just everybody knows, and just is such a legend, such a part of the Great American Songbook of the 1960s. Top 5 pop, and when it went #1 R&B, it stayed there for a month. No surprise. And it was Grammy nominated as well, making Martha and the Vandellas the first Motown group to be nominated for a Grammy Award with Heatwave. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got the contours there, over on the lower left side of the poster. Do You Love Me? Just a huge record that was actually a hit twice, not only on this poster in the early '60s, but again with Dirty Dancing decades later. Very, very familiar record. So the contours had only one hit, but boy, they made it count. It was such a monster, and luckily on this poster you have Do You Love Me to go along with her name, so that's really nice. And then down on the lower right, you've got Mary Wells, and the song title with her is You've Lost the Sweetest Boy. That was sort of a non-hit. I mean, it nudged into the R&B top 10, but no big deal. But she had had 3 top 10 pop hits a couple of years ago with Motown. And her next 45, too bad it didn't make it onto this poster, was My Guy. Can't even imagine this poster with My Guy under Mary Wells' name. I think it would fall through the floor from sheer weight. But that's okay, we've got Mary's picture on there. And then lastly, in the lower left, we've got Kim Weston with a nice, head-to-toe full body shot of Kim Weston. I guess you could say she's the only non-hit maker on this poster, although she did team up with Marvin Gaye for that great record in 1967, It Takes Two. And Marvin's on the poster, so there's a nice tie there between the two. But as an individual, Kim Weston was not, as I said, a hit maker. And then at the bottom of the poster, not to be neglected, there in bright day-glow orange, there you have it, Bill Murray as MC, and Choker Campbell and his big orchestra, with pictures of them as well. So, treated with respect all the way down to the bottom of the poster. I just love that. And yes, down at the bottom there it does say Globe Posters, Baltimore. So that covers the monstrous music talent on this poster. Just amazing stuff, which makes it such a great poster. And I get a pause now for part 2. And in part 2 I talk about the venue information up top there from Memphis, Tennessee. And I even show you a couple of photographs of this very poster from 2 other cities, which is always a lot of fun to see on these tour blank traveling posters. So thanks for stopping by, and hope to see you in a couple minutes in part 2.